So I came across this video of Jarin Blaschke, the cinematographer of Nosferatu, talking about, I guess, based on the title, single source lighting, and I just wanted to check it out. Now, to preface this, I loved Nosferatu, and I just love all things like vampiric and spooky and things like Dracula. I have the book back there. So yeah, let's check it out.
I'm Jarin Blaschke, the cinematographer of Nosferatu.
Oh my god, such a well done scene when Thomas first gets to the castle. Like, I usually don't really, horror movies don't really like scare me, I guess, but it was so chilling. It was so well done.
I first received this idea from Rob about 10 years ago. After The Witch, he was in a place where
I love The Witch. Incredible film.
might have made like a giant movie that maybe would have been a mistake at that stage, just due to our expertise being limited at that point. So he pivoted to Nosferatu. When you write to scripts, it's kind of easy to see because I know his taste. Sometimes you're talking, it's like, oh yeah, if we do the thing and it's dark and you know what I mean. And I'll go, yeah, I know what you mean. But to someone else, it's just, is this English? Like, what's going on? But we're comfortable enough that we're just going to keep pushing each other and pushing each other. I can be more outlandish with ideas than I would with another director, probably, just because it's safe. I'm not going to get fired.
The midnight hour has passed.
Okay, who doesn't love that voice?
This sequence, there's never really any sure footing. We're playing with a lot of confusion, and then we'll set up something pretty ordinary, a medium shot, but we're going to still pull the carpet from under you, and it's all carefully thought out to, sort of set up expectations and then throw you off. Being disoriented and having the camera lead you and you're never really sure what you're going to look at next was kind of an important aspect of this film. Part of the disorienting design of that whole thing, because it's sort of ambiguously a nightmare coming to the castle and essentially all the time in the castle, really. The door's shut, and then we're in a staircase. You see Orlok, we wipe in a staircase. He's no longer there. And then our eyes drawn to this kind of firelit, hall through this doorway. We push through. He's not there either. In this case, the long takes help make the magic of him appearing and reappearing even more magical. Then he arrives, he sees Orlok, and we're trying to...
Oh my god, the lighting and framing in this scene, incredible, beautiful. Just look at this composition and the way they're both silhouetted, yet there's just so much light back there. Kind of revealing the environment, but also not really. Like, it's that perfect spooky vibe,
Obscure him. We don't want to give him away just yet. So we're using all the tricks we can think of. We're using great distance, darkness outside, the staircase, he's fragmented. Then we come up, he's gone again, and then you see him, as a true silhouette against the fire. The initial designs for that chamber had the fire in the side of the room. I asked Craig nicely, pretty pleased, could it be behind Orlok, for these reasons. He obliged. So you had the silhouette, and then you cut to the other side, then he's sort of, again, a fragment out of focus in the foreground, and then Thomas sits in a close-up, and then you have him out of focus. You see more of him a little bit, but still very out of focus. That side of the room is...
Okay, I guess he's just explaining the basics to, I don't want to say normies, the regular movie-going public. Because, yeah, obviously, if you're trying to conceal your, I guess, big villain until you feel like it's fully ready to reveal him, keep him tiny in frame, keep him silhouetted, keep him very in the focus, or you just see bits and pieces of him in the foreground or in the background, which is, I guess to somebody like me, filmmaking 101.
Front lit, so it's even more important that he remain very out of focus. And we're still using these tricks, what's real, what's not, where is Orlok? The camera kind of moves around Thomas, leaving Orlok there, clearly dealing with the papers, and then all of a sudden he's next to Thomas pouring his chalice. Just kind of these old school tricks to make him appear magical, and hopefully all the more effective because we're living in real time, in a oneer, and then we sort of keep panning, and then there he is at the end of the table. Just try to make it magical. What can heighten the magic is if you get a grounding of something that you believe, and also, living in real time through a sustained take.
Drink.
We used almost all the tools. There's a little bit of LED. There's a lot of HMI for daylight because I'm basically creating artificial versions of natural light phenomenon. There's real candlelight. There's real firelight. The early lookbook led us into this very romantic, lush texture and palette, not being afraid of beauty, which is kind of what romanticism is about, which is the predominant art movement at the time the movie takes place.
I feel like that still comes through in the final film.
If they're your conveniences.
I'm creative, but in lighting, I tend to be a little bit literal. There's a fire in the room. I'm just going to choose where the fire is going to be and then embellish it, but it's still from the same direction. Everything's motivated from that direction, so you're still believing it was real fire. There's no electric light in the Great Hall. It's all that fire. If I want some more, I'll put some mirrors and I'll multiply the source. There was a brief period where I was going to put bulbs in a hole in the fireplace to, kind of do more of what the fire is doing, but in the end, we just amplified it with mirrors or just turned it up a little more. So when you go to a front lit direction, you have to break it up because then it gets too flat, so it needs to sort of fall off effect across the room. We're shooting Thomas's direction, and then you get nice rich cross light when he's at the table. I don't like too many sources. I think that's my tendency. I just like one careful one good one, and do that as best we can. I wanted to use real fire this time. We didn't do that on the Northman.
Still have not seen the Northman. I do want to watch it. I'm just not that big into Viking stuff.
Very slow film for the Northman, just because I wanted this kind of very clean, epic look. The Lighthouse was black and white.
Still haven't seen The Lighthouse, but it looks beautiful from what I've seen.
Film has not been improved since 1959. It's not so sensitive, so we needed something a little more oomph than a real oil lamp, so that was very electrified. So this time I just wanted to try candles again and see if we could do it on film this time, because last time we did it was on The Witch, and that was shot digitally. We're big advocates of film. We would have shot The Witch on film, but, the first feature, you don't get that much, less money and less say, but this time we wanted to see if we can shoot fire on film. So I had some high-speed lenses made by Panavision, by their guru, Dan Sasaki. I'm always in talks with him about the next project or things to explore. And this movie, because it took so long to get made, I could bring up, high-speed lenses very early.
I wonder what the T-stop was on those lenses. It was probably nothing too crazy. Probably like 1.3, 1.1. But even then, I just can't imagine pulling focus blindly on some of these crazy moves at 1.3, lit only by firelight. Like me, I'm just so used to staring at the monitor. Like, that's the style I've come up through. And the few times I have pulled focus blindly on 16, you still have a lot more depth. But even then, I'm still like freaking out. Like, what if I didn't get it? And I measure meticulously still. But with film, it's just, man, film is just a whole other thing. And me personally, I love the look of very grainy Super 16 footage. But I feel like in the modern day, with how the film is developed and processed and scanned, especially with 35, we lose so much of that. So like, I'm probably just talking out my ass here, but like, why even bother shooting a film on 35? It was just going to look largely digital, especially when most people are going to see it digitally projected or at home on Blu-ray or on Netflix. So you lose so much of that character with the 35. Whereas when you shoot 16, especially if you like push it a couple stops, it just looks so gritty, so grainy, which I personally love. Like, if I shot Nosferatu or directed it, I probably would have gone 16, but I would have, I don't want to say I'd go full on like documentary handheld, because I don't think that would fit for the story of Dracula. And I don't want to also say I would have just done exactly what they did with 16, but probably a nice in between, because I really do love the handheld documentary look / style of films.
I got even more advanced version of the optics than I even would have hoped. So yeah, he made just a gorgeous set of high-speed lenses for us, and that way, we go to the monastery or we go to the scene, we can just use real candles, real fire. You need a focus puller who can deal with it, because we're not just using static shots in this film. We have people...
You need a focus puller who can deal with it. That's funny.
Real fire. You need a focus puller who can deal with it, because we're not just using static shots in this film. We have people moving through space, and the depth of field when you're at those light levels is extremely thin. Sometimes it's a centimeter on a shot that's this big, so you can't take that lightly. I happen to have one of the best focus pullers in the world, who's willing to work with me. Met him on the Northman, named Ashley Bond, and he could handle these scenes, and then I see that he can handle one thing, and then I keep pushing him, you know, and I get a little spoiled.
Of course, sir.
Certainly not me. Like, even on digital, pulling focus on somebody's face, you get like a centimeter of depth. Just every little in and out. Just the natural movement of the human body when you're emoting or talking. Your eyes can get out of focus, and it's so annoying pulling focus on stuff like that. I can't imagine doing that on film.
Lord.
As you get into post, those are just tools to further refine what you've already begun on set, so they work together. There's no like you do one thing and you take it back later or you alter it. It's just, there's an intention that goes through. When you shoot it, you're thinking about how you're going to print it, so you're just trying to put on the negative the basis of how you want it printed later. In the Moonlight, I'm throwing away a lot of the color. It's not just that it's printed cooler, there's literally no red information on the negative. So your film has three layers of color. There's no red at all. There's a little green, and then the blue layer is doing most of the heavy lifting. So if you print it red to get your red back, there's no red to be had. It just kind of goes gray. The idea is that it's not a tone. It's like literally not there, to be brought out. You could probably get a little green out of it, if you had green leaves or something, which we don't.
I am most impatient to bring my eyes on your covenant papers.
I watched The Witch again. Damn, that's a lot of Steadicam. It's like horrible. So then The Lighthouse, we tried to
I love the cinematography of The Witch. I don't know what he's talking about. A film like that, the shots they did do require a lot of Steadicam, unless he's not happy with the opping if it's too wobbly for him, which I know some DPs can be pain in the asses about that.
Get rid of it. There's one Steadicam. We couldn't figure out a way to go up the lighthouse tower staircase when Pattinson's carrying the oil can. We did it before. Our grip came up with this whole winch system, and we did that when you go up. But there's one shot we just didn't know how to do without Steadicam. And then The Northman, there's one scene that had to use Steadicam, but that was just because the location was so remote you couldn't get a crane there. But this was the first film we finally got that fucking Steadicam out of there. I'm pretty happy with the film.
Man, he does not like Steadicam. Don't get me started on Steadicam ops. They're really annoying. But this boy, he just wants to get rid of him.
I'm the most satisfied with this film as any film I've done. So, I can still, if I did it again, I could make it 15% better. But this is the closest thing to what I envisioned of all the work I've done so far.
Well, Jared, he definitely pulled off a great look for Nosferatu and The Witch. And from what I've seen, The Lighthouse and Northman. He is a great DP. I'd love to meet him someday and ask him some questions, but overall, that's the video. I love Nosferatu. I love the look, the lighting, the color. It's interesting how he talked about no red. I never really thought about that, but it makes sense. I guess just no red in the art or any of the lighting they use. And you do get this really muted kind of color. It's not black and white, but it's in color if it looked black and white. I don't know how to describe it, but it fit the vibe of Nosferatu. So yeah.